Welcome back to my channel. Nina Takesh here, your interior designer best friend. And if your home looks like it could belong to anyone, it probably does. Not because you have bad taste, but because you're making a few very specific mistakes that nobody ever actually names. And once you know what they are, they're not that hard to fix. So we're going to talk about 6 of these mistakes today and exactly what to do about each and every one. Like I mentioned, I'm Nina, and if you are new here, welcome. Make sure and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know when our videos are going live. Every Sunday, we come into your living rooms and we share interior design advice, and we are going to be switching things up, guys. I know. This has been going on for a good 5 or 6 years, I want to say, but we're going to start doing something a little bit different, which I'm really excited to share, which are episodic shows. Essentially, we're going to be transforming homes, could be yours, and we're going to show you the process start to finish. If you guys are interested in something like that, please sound off and let us know. Okay, if your home looks like it could belong to anyone, it probably does. Not because you have bad taste, but because you're making a few very specific mistakes that nobody ever actually names. Everything is the same shape. This one is so easy to miss because we tend to shop for furniture as individual pieces without thinking about what shape they are collectively bringing to a room. Walk into most living rooms and you will find a rectangular sofa, rectangular coffee table, rectangular art, side tables. Every single element is the same form, just scaled up or down depending on the item. And when that happens, the eye has nothing to pause on. It just glides right over everything. Shape is one of the first things your brain registers in a room, even when you are not consciously thinking about it. When everything is the same, the room reads as flat. Not because anything is wrong with the individual pieces, but because there is no contrast between them. The fix is not buying more things. It is looking at what you already have and asking what shape it is. If most of your room is angular and rectangular, you need one curved element, a round ottoman, an organic ceramic vase, a pendant light with an individual silhouette. It doesn't have to be statement pieces. It just has to break the rhythm. One contrasting shape is usually enough to give the eye somewhere to land, and the whole room reads as more interesting immediately. This is a really great way to break it all up. And actually, this also works in reverse. So if your space is all soft and all rounded, a lot of us went, cuckoo with the rounded edges, and then now everything looks a little bit too rounded. And so bring in something angular and you will notice a big difference. For small spaces, a single round side table in a compact living room full of angular furniture completely changes how the space feels. You're not adding volume, you're adding contrast. All right, number 2, playing it too safe with color. This a lot of people are guilty of, only because for the last 10 years, everybody's been preaching paint everything in white. So this is the one people are most resistant to hearing, but it comes up in almost every conversation I have with design editors and professional designers about why rooms are forgettable. When everything in a room is neutral, everything is beige or white or grayish or warm gray, the room has no contrast, and without contrast, nothing registers. Your eye moves through the space and there is nothing to catch on, nothing to respond to. The room looks fine. It just does not look like anything. The fear behind this is understandable. Color feels like a commitment and neutral feels safe. But safe is exactly the problem. A room where every decision was made to avoid a mistake ends up making the biggest mistake, which is being completely unmemorable. You do not need to paint a wall a bold color. Please don't even start with an accent wall. One moment of color somewhere in the room is usually enough to change how the whole space reads. A sofa in a beautiful rust color rather than yet another shade of cream. A piece of art with real pigment in it. Even a single bolster is something saturated against an otherwise neutral sofa shifts the energy and the whole room immediately. The rooms that stay with you almost always have one color decision that felt slightly brave. That is not a coincidence. Notice how you walk into hotels, into these beautiful bars, and you just stop and your jaw drops? Well, that is because they have used color. For small spaces, a single colored element reads strongly because there's less competition. One good cushion, one piece of art, one plant, and a real color, that is enough. All right, number 3, the lighting is flat. Most homes have one type of light, overhead, a ceiling fixture or a recessed downlight that fills a room evenly from above. And the room looks fine during the day, and then at night it feels like a waiting room. Overhead lighting alone is the fastest way to make a space feel generic because it flattens everything. It removes shadow, removes depth, removes the warmth that makes a room feel somewhere you actually want to spend time in. And yet it is the default in almost every home because it's what builders put in and most people never change. The rooms that feel genuinely good at night are almost always the ones with multiple light sources at different heights. A floor lamp in the corner, a table lamp on the sideboard, candles, or a low lamp on the coffee table. Those are always much more beautiful and layered. Not because any of those lights are doing something the ceiling light cannot, but because together they create pools of light and pockets of shadow, and that variation is what the eye reads as warm and atmospheric. The walls are doing nothing. Let's talk about that. This one comes up constantly among professional designers and design editors, and it almost never gets talked about. General design content. And it is one of the most common reasons a room reads as unfinished, even when the furniture is great. The walls are the single largest surface in any room. When they are bare and flat, the room stops there. There is no character, no detail, nothing that makes the architecture itself interesting. You can have an excellent sofa, a great rug, thoughtful accessories on every surface, and the whole thing still reads as temporary if the walls have not been considered. And I don't just mean putting up art, though that is a big part of it. I mean thinking about the wall as a design decision. Where art is hung matters enormously. Hung too low, and it floats. Hung too high, it disconnects from the furniture. The center of a piece should sit at eye level, not at window height, and a piece that is too small for the wall it's on will always make the room feel unresolved, unless you put a very distinct small piece of art in an artistic way that floats, which is also a very beautiful thing to do. Beyond art, architectural details change how a room reads without any renovation. Applied panel molding, one of my favorite things to do, a picture rail, even changing the paint color of your room makes a huge difference. For small spaces, one well-chosen piece of art hung at the right height does more than any amount of accessories on a surface. Small accessories become a tremendous amount of clutter. The walls are not negative space. They are part of the room and they deserve the same attention. Now, this is exactly why I built the Good Eye Society. If you are watching this and thinking you would actually love someone to look at your specific space and tell you what they see, that is exactly what the Good Eye Society does. It is my new membership community, and honestly, it has been one of the best ways that I have been able to communicate with you guys as well. It gives you real access to me without booking a full one-on-one consultation because it allows you to interact with other members of the community. And we have classrooms, we have question and answers. Every week I open up a real active project and walk you through the actual decisions that are being made. It is where I spend a lot of time in, and I see you guys engaging with each other, which is really heartwarming. So if you are looking for a community of people who are like-minded, who love design, who want advice and give advice to each other and really learn about interior design on a level that's just amazing, this is your place. By the way, it is a fraction of the cost of a one-on-one, and you get access to me every single week. Make sure you lock in the founding rate while it is still available because the prices keep going up as time goes on. And I hope you will join so that we can see each other face to face. That's right, face to face on school.com. Everything will be linked in the description section. The fixtures and fittings are still builder grade. So this is the one that most people really don't think about. And it's one of the first things a designer eye goes to immediately in any room. And this happens in very, very expensive homes too. Builders don't really go out of their way to pick gorgeous fixtures. They just buy something they find neutral and there you go. So every apartment has it, every home has it. And, round brush nickel door handles are so boring. Basic ceiling light fittings that spread light evenly, so boring. Simple white switch plates, terrible. So it's not offensive. They're just completely anonymous and they could belong anywhere to anyone. And this is where you can start making small design additions. Design editors flag this constantly. You can have beautiful furniture, thoughtful art, a great rug, and the space still reads as generic if the hardware and the space are speaking a completely different language. Because they are the first details you actually touch, they set the tone for how considered the whole space feels. Switching out door handles is one of the least expensive and highest return changes you can make. Good hardware and a finish that suits the room takes a space from anonymous to intentional instantly. Light fixtures are the same. A builder pendant replaced with something that has actual design, thinking behind it, changes the whole ceiling plane. Even switch plates come in better options for almost nothing. For smaller spaces, this is especially worth doing because everything is closer together and details read more clearly. A thoughtful handle on a compact wardrobe, a proper pendant over a small dining table. The details carry more weight in a small room, not less. And finally, number 6, nothing in the room is alive. So the last one and the quietest one, which I'm about to bring up, is probably the most impactful. Rooms without any organic element, meaning no plants, no natural material, nothing with irregularity or life to it, feel stiff. They feel finished in the way a hotel room is finished, which is everything is correct, but nothing is breathable. So it is not just aesthetic. There's research behind why people feel more at ease in spaces that have living things in them, which is why bringing in flowers has such an impact, which is why having this gorgeous Ficus Audrey has made me so much happier. But even setting the research aside, the practical reality is that a room with a plant in it just feels more inhabited, more like somewhere a person actually spends time in rather than somewhere a room is assembled. And it does not have to be plant specifically, a branch in a vase, a bowl of fruit, a piece of driftwood, raw stone. I know people are doing some of those crystals, those mood crystals. And that kind of irregularity of something that was not made by machine is what's important, especially in the days of AI. These are the elements that take a room from polished to warm. And they are almost always what is missing from spaces that look right but do not feel right. The mistake people make is treating the plant or the organic element as a finished touch, something to add at the end once everything else is done. Designers treat it as a core part of the room, even from installing them in the center of a home, or creating atriums with them, or having windows that open that have huge access to real natural plants. For small spaces, one plant does exactly what a large one would do in a bigger room, as you can imagine. A single fiddle leaf, a trailing pothos on a shelf, something with presence. It doesn't need to be dramatic to change how the space feels. 6 things, and none of them are about buying more, guys. The homes that feel genuinely interesting are almost never the most expensive ones. They are the ones where someone made deliberate decisions instead of defaulting to whatever was there and whatever was safe. Once you start seeing these things, you cannot unsee them. YouTube thinks you will like these videos, so keep on watching.